ministry and family, ministry and marriage, and all that. If you don't strike that balance, then you'll have this challenge that we're talking about, where you are a big distance apart. So it's very important for us to be intentional about that. So we'll talk about that at some point in time, how to balance work and family. Then, besides the busy lives that we find ourselves in right now, number 2, changing priorities. As we grow older, my priorities are change. People grow and change, and their priorities often shift in different directions. So we may become focused on our careers, we may become focused on our personal growth and other aspects of our lives. So these changes, then they sort of put a wedge between the two of us. Distance, because one is busy chasing this and the other one is chasing that one, and we end up strangers in one place. For instance, one could be actually chasing their educational goals. They are doing their masters. It takes a lot to do that. Am I saying we mustn't do that? No, we must do that. But at the back of our mind, we must know that we need to actually do more so that we make up for that time. Studies edu. So it's very important for us to actually do that. And always check, like we always say, check my love language is has there been a movement in terms of what they are preferring now compared to what they would have preferred if you go way back in time. So it's very important for you to always ask, are you still a gifts person? Are you still a words of affirmation person? Are you still that person? Because of responsibilities and other things that we then start to experience, you find that you may need your partner or your spouse to help you. So definitely, unengwa kudao acts of service, etc. So changing priorities. But the most important thing that we must know today is that the biggest priority that we have if we're married is our relationship, our primary relationship. That should be the bedrock. If you are going to be a successful person in life, you need that success complete, and that is actually pointing to a bedrock. A very good relationship with your close people, with your family, with your primary family, that is your spouse and your kids. Because it's no point in you getting the success out there in the public and then you are a private failure. You don't want to be a public success and a private failure. Your wife, your kids, they see you as someone who's very that was a big failure. That's but
then you're celebrated outside. I guess for a number of people that's the case. Say here at home, they're a different person.
You're giving Daddy all these honors, but we don't see that here.
We don't know this man.
The number 3, obviously, lack of communication. When people don't communicate, communication is something that you have to be very deliberate about. Could you know what? Let's communicate. Because I hear some people saying, I have nothing to communicate with this person, and all that. But let's find some hobbies. Let's find some things that can actually get us talking. Communication, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. No, we're just talking about being in the same space at the same time and just commenting on anything, just talking about anything. You can sit in a room and start talking about what you're watching on TV or what you're seeing. So you've got to actually push for that, because if we don't communicate, that's where you end up having a lot of misunderstandings. It's a build-up that has been happening because you're not communicating.
And kind of message and apana like a normal conversation. What are you watching? What can we watch? What's that?
It's because over the years they were not even communicating even on small things. So there hasn't been a build-up. So at the end of it, they are now like strangers. So obviously they have no stories, they have nothing to talk about. So you end up having these misunderstandings, you end up having these assumptions. Could I assume you are going to pick up because there's no communication. So it's very, very important for us to communicate as couples. And this lack of communication is happening even in the background. You could see we actually are very fortunate as a generation, because we have increasing numbers of online communication platforms. There's WhatsApp, there's SMS, there's Instagram, there's a number of communication platforms, but we're not making use of this. But you know what? The same person who would like a communication kumba is the same person who would see if you put him out there or her out there, they will start chatting with other strangers. And you'll be like, is this my wife? Is this my husband? Share my jokes in an So I think it's high time we start using these tools that are before us for you know the better of our relationships. Then obviously number 4 is infidelity. When there's infidelity, definitely there's resentment. You don't want to be with the person who's hurting you, especially if the person is not showing remorse, they are not sorry, they continuously do whatever they've been doing. That infidelity will actually drive you further apart as a couple. You end up living, yes, married, but separate and living apart. So very important there. Then there's also lack of emotional support. You know, you don't want to be close to someone that that person doesn't support you emotionally. When you're vulnerable before that person, they take that and they use it against you. It's like, how am I going to be close with you if I get vulnerable before you? Weakness like that, then you take that weakness and then you use it against me. So that's one thing that we must watch out for. So what must we do then? Remember, our idea is that we want you to turn towards each other. We want you to be one flesh. We don't want you to grow that distance that's between you now. So what must we do? Number 1, let's make repair attempts. I know for a fact that there's that distance now because of some conflict. Pane conflict yakaitika, pane conflict itoripo. So how do you then correct things? Let's make repair attempts. When I'm saying repair attempts, I'm saying there must be at least one of you. I need to reach out to the other person. And I call that person the peacemaker. I need to reach out to the other person. I call that person the mature one in that relationship. And I hear someone say, Pastor, I'm tired of being the mature one every time. But again, when you look at marriage is made up of 2 people that are different. There are some that have a personality, you know what, even though they are not in the wrong, they're the ones that are first to actually reach out to the other person. So if you're like that person, be yourself. If you are like that person, be yourself. You know you're not the one who's in the wrong, but you're the peacemaker. It's your personality. Just reach out. Just do your part. Unongotanga nega statement kokuti wanyazozathi amusutaudzana nditi ungotanga ne statement uti ai wafamba boyere. Yes, or you can just up. I know I'm speaking to someone right now. Maybe matobva kumba musina kutaudzana. You know, a simple hi can actually break the ice. And it takes a mature person like you to just send that message. We call those repair attempts. Because in the absence of repair attempts, you can see even conflict, it can be prolonged to maybe a year or 2 years. Because no one ever made that effort to repair the relationship. Then number 2, make what we call beads of connection. The fact that you have this distance now, you now need to reconnect. So there has to be those beads of connection. When I talk of beads, I'm talking of, to my small acts of kindness. Something nice. You can just bring me a chocolate bar. That's a bead. You're actually saying, you're communicating, you're saying, you know what, my dude, I miss you. I want to connect with you. I miss the good times. Those are beads of connection. Or you can just post a picture by Facebook and just caption it, my whatever. You are actually making a bead of connection.
My woman, my everything.
Then obviously, you must also do some bit of rituals. Rituals. Now, this is more like proactive. This is what we must be doing. Don't wait until the day, Roguti, you are now in that space where you've drifted apart. No, just be ready for the rain day. Make sure that you are putting in place some rituals that you do. But rituals relationship zvakafanikana tine yatoti ritual of leave taking. kurauti usati wabva pamba, you just tell your person kuti shamari, my day is going to look like this, I'm going to move from A ndoenda pa B ndozodai. It's a ritual. So
it may seem small, but then it's yes. something, yeah.
Or when you come back, there's a ritual of reunion. What do you do when you come back? Muchata say, are you going to hug? Are you going to kiss? Are you going to, engage in what we call stress reduction conversations? Kutaura nyaya dzinobvisa stress, pane kutaura nyaya dzinowedzera stress. So these are some of the rituals that would want us to do. Sundays acho, maybe you went to church. After church, what happens? What ritual do you perform, or do you engage as a family? For instance, some families after church they go for lunch or they go for braai. That can be a ritual. So those are some of the things that actually bring you together. Imagine pataka conflict on a Friday, and we know we've got a ritual every Sunday to end up church test to braai.
Asikana wene munhu asingaregerere anenge ari mawana andoisiya yotopfuura iyo.
But for some people they've actually managed to reconnect through those rituals.
Wow.
But you know what? It's our anniversary, and every anniversary tunaenda ku Dubai or wherever. So that person is going to make attempts, repair attempts, so that we are quickly on board and we quickly find each other so that we can then enjoy our trip. So unoza weekend kana patorine something chakatoplanwa unzi tukwenda ku Dubai, chero mukanetsana zvakaita say you have to find each other. Kashoma unzwanza ma tickets azokanzurwa akanzurwe zvokumhanya. You just be left with no option but to actually find each other and work out things so that you can actually fulfill whatever you have planned. So also communicate openly and honestly. Let's communicate honestly, openly. Let's prioritize our quality time together as a couple. It is very important. There's just so many things that you can do.
I wish we had more time, but then we've really run out of it. Pastor Simba, thank you so much. For those who want to reach you,
please add me on 0773 000 000 0773 000 000. You add me your name and your marital status. That's how I work. Your name and your marital status, and if you want, also your town.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate. We do this again next week, same time. Back with you Monday. Remember, tomorrow belongs to God. I am V Candy. 12 midday. Time for Now Indaba.